We just got off Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, and we are here to dish about the good, the bad, and the one thing that almost sent me to the hospital. Will we ever cruise Virgin again? Hey everyone, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And we are JJ
JJ
Cruise.
Cruise.
Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful day for our full review of the Scarlet Lady.
Yes, and if you're just joining us for the first time, please know this is a completely honest review. This is unbiased. We paid for our cruise ourselves. This is all about Virgin Voyages from our point of view. And speaking of which, if you could hit that subscribe button,
yes,
hit that like button.
Hit the like button.
We do all things cruising, and we're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers here by Christmas, so you can be a part of that, and it's completely free for you to do so.
Okay, let's jump into this. And I think today we are going to start with the bad.
Yes, we have to start with the bad. And there are some bad things out there about Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. First and foremost, we have to talk about the rooms. So obviously, once you get on board the Scarlet Lady, you do go right to your stateroom, which is a nice thing. However, there are some things we did not like about the rooms.
Yeah, we stayed in an insider room, so a completely interior room, and it does have the configuration with a bed that can turn into a couch. Now, something to just understand right away that we were very confused by, they only do service of that room once per day. So the whole configuration from couch to bed, where it's supposed to be a couch during a day and a bed during the evening, didn't actually make any sense.
And the bed is not very soft.
The bed was really, really firm. If you like a firm bed, you would probably really like this bed. I like my bed's on the softer side, so while it probably did do some good things for my back, it was not comfortable at night, and we did not like that.
Another thing that we did not really like about the room was the storage, or should I say lack thereof. Honestly, the lack of storage was a little shocking. We had heard from other people that had been on board before that it's a little shocking. But actually being on there, and we were only on for 4 nights, we could not unpack everything.
No, we had to have at least one of our suitcases still open with stuff packed in it because we just did not have enough space. The real bummer here is because they have this bed and couch configuration thing, right next to the bed is a large, probably 2 foot by 2 foot space that's just wasted. They could easily have put a chest of drawers there or some other type of storage unit, but it is just like almost a shelf that uses no purpose in the room, and we kind of think that that was just really, really bad design choice.
On top of this, you couldn't put your larger suitcases under the bed. They would not fit. And this is a big no-no for any cruise ship. We know that this is a brand new cruise, but that is something that they really should change in the future, because that's a huge storage possibility right there in itself.
Last point about the room, and we're not going to talk too much about this, the bathroom was ultra small. We have been on other ships this year with pretty much the exact same bathroom. So not our favorite bathroom, but we understand that that's not completely a Virgin thing. We have seen that on other ships.
Moving on to the ship, the overall ship design, one thing right off the bat we noticed, and this changed barely from our first impressions, is that the ship is very interior. What we mean by that is there's very few spaces on board that is focused upon the ocean, which is what we're on and what we're going to cruise for, right? We are going on this ship so we can be at the ocean, be on the ocean, and see the beautiful ocean view. Although there are portholes throughout the ship, it just felt very much more darker. And felt a little bit more interior. I mean, I don't know.
Well, and this was not only true for the inside, it was true for the outside too. When you're actually in the pool spaces, it's really difficult to see outside. Even on the top deck, they had these red chairs, and some of the red chairs faced other red chairs. So even like sitting up there, you could end up being stuck in a chair with a totally obstructed view of the ocean, even though you can't really go much further than that. There was a couple of spaces that did have some ocean views, but as a whole, we would have liked to see a little bit more focus on the ocean on the ship.
So here's something that we are just very upset by. The ADA access across the ship is just not friendly to our accessible travelers. I mean, for us to say this, and we are people that aren't, a part of the ADA don't have to have these, and for us to notice this, obviously we try to make sure we understand everything for all. That's our whole goal here. And we noticed right away the pool has no entry point for someone who might be in a wheelchair or might need some additional access.
Yeah, and we noticed this actually in most of the bodies of water on board the ship, as well as in the beach club at Bimini. And we were really surprised by this because this is something that seems to be a no-brainer. Obviously, you're going to have people that are going to come on your ship, and you need to be able to serve all people and make sure that all of your guests and sailors have a great time. Virgin, if you're listening, this is going to be something that you're really going to want to pay attention to as your new ships come out. It's very, very important, and there are people that we would love to see on Virgin Voyages and on your ships that are going to need this.
Cruising's supposed to be for all, everyone.
Okay, we're going to now kind of talk about the service that we experienced, and we want to be very careful here because we received, of course, really good service from the crew. Something, though, just to know that I think people are going to perceive as very negative is the crew all communicate on communication devices that look just like iPhones or cell phones. These cell phones, from what we understood, did not work very well for the crew, and I can't tell you how many crew members said to us, I'm so frustrated with this device, it's not working. That being said, I think it's because they weren't working, the crew are on them almost at all times. We noticed this specifically when we were in dining venues, and the service was a little bit slow. We would look over to our left or to our right, and we would notice that our server was on his communication device. It looked like he was texting, but more than likely, like we said, the issue was probably that it wasn't working. This was how they put our food orders in. This is how they communicate from department to department. They use these across the ship for everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you imagine it, it's like all of your servers are just like this all day.
Right.
And one of those things is like, it's not a problem per se. It's just not something that we are used to. You know, we're used to kind of seeing the faces and always being prompt and attentive, but instead they're kind of constantly on their devices, which of course, if they're not working, makes sense, right? They're trying to get that one order in and it's not going through for whatever reason it may be.
It comes across as a guest that you're just kind of being ignored. Especially the service in the restaurants were very slow, and I don't actually think it was any crew the crew's fault. I think that it was the fault of these devices, and we have a feeling that guests going on board in the future are going to potentially complain about this or get upset or feel a little offended, you know, if they're not getting that the service that you typically do expect on a cruise ship.
Speaking of online and service via technology, the app is horrendous. And I can say this without having to blink or anything. This is the worst app we have ever dealt with on a cruise ship, and maybe even one of the worst apps we've ever done with on land.
Wait, I have a question. What app?
The Virgin Voyages app.
Oh, you know why? Because it never worked on my phone. So I don't even know what the app is like. I could never once open it up. Anytime I would open it up, it would say, oops, we have an issue, try again. I have no clue how to even tell you how to use the app because I was a sailor for 4 nights and never once did the app work for me.
And the reason why this is such a problem is you do everything through it. In fact, you have to book your shows through it. Now, of course, if you're going on Virgin Voyages, don't freak out. You can call guest services. We also have some tips here. You can delete your app and re-upload it. Make sure it's updated and then do it again. This is all stuff you shouldn't have to do, right? This should be something that's done for you. However, until it is a better app, just know those tips because that is probably the only way you're going to get a chance at seeing the schedule, at booking shows, booking reservations for dining, which is delicious, and we'll talk about that later. So make sure you talk to guest services and make sure you're prepared for that nightmare.
Now, within the app, because you do book your shows there, it is important that you know that things sell out so quickly. So when you get on board, it is so important that you get your shows booked. Otherwise, you're possibly not going to be able to actually go. We saw this happen over and over and over again. There was a standby line for everything. And our ship was actually at very low capacity. We were right around 30%. So the fact that they people couldn't get into every venue, and the venues were pretty full when we were inside, tells me that at max capacity, it's going to be really hard to book into shows.
And this goes for not just shows, but for restaurants and dining. In fact, some of the dining you can do ahead of your cruise. So make sure when you check in, you can check constantly to make sure you get the dining choices you want.
I want to make one note here on entertainment on the ship. Now, the ship has some entertainment. There's one thing, though, that I think was missing, and that was just more vocalists. One of my favorite things on ship is to go and sit and listen to singers. And while there were a couple of great singers on the ship, it was nothing like other ships in terms of being able to sit back and listen to some amazing harmonies or, 3 or 4 people singing all at once. That was completely left out of this experience. And from my understanding, they don't really have that on board the Scarlet Lady right now. Now, of course, headliners come on and off the ships. Those things can change. But that was just our experience on the 4 nights that we were there.
It was obvious they did not want traditional entertainment for cruising, and that is more traditional entertainment for cruising. Lastly, one thing that we were actually shocked by, we all know Disney Cruise Line is about no casinos because it's family friendly. Well, this is an adults only cruise.
It's the opposite of Disney.
So we were expecting a great casino. The casino is small. That is going to be the main point here. It's very small. For table games, there are like 2 roulette tables, 4 blackjack tables, or maybe 5. And then there's an Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 1 poker table. And that was it. We thought that was wild for table games, and the slots were also minimal as well. They were updated. They're new. Everything's fresh, but it's just small. So hopefully in the future, there'll be more space for more tables, more slots, and a better casino experience.
Okay, that was the bad. Now let's talk about the good, and there really, really is a lot of good. Definitely stick through this part with us, because we're going to tell you at the end of this video if we would be cruising on Virgin again.
Yes.
So, jumping right into the good, let's talk about check-in. We heard a lot of bad about the check-in process. Now, of course, you have to get a COVID test upon check-in, and you do have to test negative to be able to get on the ship. We thought this was going to take hours. We actually heard from other friends of ours that it could take up to 3 hours from the time you get dropped off at the terminal to the time you're actually walking on the ship. For us, I think it was about 50 minutes.
Yeah, it was really simple. A lot better process than what we had prepared for. So kudos, that obviously means Virgin is doing something right. They are making moves in the right direction to make it a seamless, easy experience for you. Now, another great thing about this, and honestly, this is the main reason why a lot of cruisers were on the ship while we were on the ship, is that it's adults only. There is really no other line out there right now that is focused on adults only, and it is just a nice experience not to have to worry about any kids on board, not have to worry about a kid splashing in the pool right by your margarita or whatever it may be, or getting your hair wet. You don't have to worry about kids running around. It is just a nice experience. What we noticed with this is that made all the other fellow cruisers really ready to be social, ready to be lively, and ready to get going.
It's kind of funny, when I was filming the ship tour, at one point I stopped and I was like, oh wait, where's the adults only area? Because I'm so used to that on a ship. The adults only area is everywhere on the ship. The ship was built for adults to really be adults only. That's also kind of the theming of the whole ship is, this is for you, for adults. We really enjoyed that. We think that that's a really big selling point for Virgin because they're doing adults only the right way.
Another thing we loved was the entertainment staff. They really acted as your guides and your hosts for your entire cruise. And when we say this, it is like the Fun Squad from Carnival, but better. It is just in your face all the time in a great way. I mean, they're across the ship at random times, providing pop-up events, through Scarlet Night, for example. They're out around the entire ship, just making it the best time possible. Oh my goodness, that pool party.
Oh, they are incredible hosts, and honestly, I can say our experience aboard the Scarlet Lady was made better because of the entertainment staff, and that was exactly their job. So, to the entertainment staff aboard the Scarlet Lady, incredible job. You made our 4 nights there really special, and if you're getting on board the Scarlet Lady, get to know the entertainment staff because they are honestly some of the coolest people we have met at sea.
Now, we talked about the entertainment staff, but the entertainment itself is incredibly different and unique, and we love that. For example, Dual Reality is one of the shows, main production shows, and it is just a physical, acrobatic, Cirque du Soleil type of show, but with the theme of Romeo and Juliet, loosely. It is so unique and so cool to see these human beings doing these things that you just don't ever imagine doing ever in your life, because my back would hurt.
There was also another show that was a more cabaret style show called Never Sleep Alone. I will say that was very adult.
Yes.
We aren't going to say too much else about that show, but unique is the right word here in terms of entertainment. And Virgin does that very, very well. You don't have your traditional, concerts or stage shows, but you're going to have very unique entertainment and interactive experiences that you're honestly not going to get anywhere else. And we did like that. Now, when I said no traditional concerts, I meant no traditional theatrical stage experiences where you're sitting in a seat watching someone on stage. There was an actual band on the ship called the Free Label Band. They were incredible, and they gave a full-out concert at the end of our trip. And I'm talking everyone's standing around the stage. They're up, they're dancing. There was no seats. The entertainment staff was there dancing with us. I would do this over and over and over again if I could. I'm not even a traditional concert goer, but this was such an amazing way to end the cruise. Yeah. It was a celebration of everyone that you had met your 4 nights at sea, and it was just a great experience. And like I said, this was not necessarily for me, and I had the best time.
They were the house band for the entire cruise, but they did that one last concert, and it was truly like a concert that you would get out and pay for. For example, like a Bruno Mars concert. I mean, they were dancing, they were singing, they were doing all these cool things, they were interacting with the audience.
There was some crazy saxophone music going on. They were so good.
Pure entertainment, and we absolutely loved it, and we would not expect that on any other cruise but Virgin Voyages.
Now let's talk about the food. And if you don't know, Virgin Voyages has done something totally different on their ships. There is no traditional main dining room that you go to. So you have no large open dining room where everyone is seated in. Instead, they have specialty dining across the ships, and it's all included. Now, if you are a foodie, this experience is going to be for you. They have all different kinds of restaurants, from Mexican to Italian to a Korean barbecue. Lots of very unique food that you're going to be able to eat and try. And overall, we really, really enjoyed our dining experiences. I loved the Italian restaurant, Extra Virgin. That might be my favorite.
I loved Razzle Dazzle, but I would say, adding on to this, I love the fact there was brunch options every day. You had Razzle Dazzle and you had the Wake, to where you could actually have a full brunch experience, not just on a sea day, but every day that you're there. That is just not something that you see all the time. You always have main dining options, but the fact that you have these specialty brunch options is really cool.
And while there may have been a thing or two here and there that we ate that we didn't necessarily like, I would say we really liked the concept. Yes. Overall, we liked most of the restaurants, and this had to go on our good list because it was overall a really good experience for us.
Yeah. Probably the top thing that I loved about Virgin Voyages was the overall vibe of the ship. And when I say vibe, I mean vibe. Now, I know vibe is a very, Gen Z, a newer kind of word to use for an overall feeling. But if you don't know what vibe is, it is the overall feeling and sensation of being somewhere. Is it a good vibe?
They set the mood.
The mood.
For everything. There is a mood in the room, and the mood is generally, pretty good.
Yeah, and when I say it's a vibe, I'm saying is that everyone there is meant to be social. In fact, a lot of the people there, I think it was built, honestly, for a younger population, ideally. However, there was all ages on board. But what we found constant was that everyone wanted to have a good time. They're either getting away from their kids, their grandkids, or they were just wanting to get away because they're on vacation. They're on spring break, or they're whatever it may be. It wasn't spring break when we went. But every single age group wanted to have a good time. And that was a huge win. And we think Virgin Voyages is drawing and attracting this audience to their cruise ships. And that is something that you don't always find on every cruise ship. Everyone's wanting to have a good vacation, but we all know that there can be some complainers on board. we didn't really have that at all on Virgin Voyages. Everyone was just ready to have a great time.
Okay, now before we get into the one thing on board that almost sent me to the hospital, we're going to just give a quick overview of our thoughts. And I want to put a disclaimer out there. Jared and I do not agree on this overall experience. I'll go ahead and jump in here and go first. Now, did I have a good time on Scarlet Lady? Absolutely. I met some fantastic people. You know, that list of goods, Jared and I genuinely do agree on. What I struggle with, though, is that this is a very specific type of experience. It is definitely not a traditional cruise. It's a lot more along the lines of going to Las Vegas or going to an all-inclusive resort. And overall, my favorite place to be in the world is on a more traditional cruise ship. So if you put the two out in front of me and ask me to choose, I would probably go back and pick, you know, my Royal Caribbean or Celebrity experience over Scarlet Lady. I would say that this type of cruise was not completely built for Jordan. But was it built for Jared?
I say it is. And this is why I say so. Some of what Jordan said is completely correct, right? Vegas themed, more all-inclusive. It did feel like that. You know, it felt like you were in the Cosmopolitan, or you felt like you were in one of these high-end Vegas hotel resorts and casinos, except there's a small casino on board. It felt very much like that high-end feeling. But what I thought was the reason why everyone should go and try it out, and this is, I think, the big thing we were saying, he more thinks that only a certain population should try this. I think if you're an adult, you should try it. And why I say that is cruising's all about new experiences. And what we have found is a lot of cruise ships, even though they have different things to offer, this is the one cruise line where you have a really unique, different experience. And you can try it for 3 or 4 nights, and if you don't like it, go back to your old cruise ways. But honestly, from all the people we met on board, I don't know if we met a single person that said that they wouldn't be back. And that's saying good things for their experience on Virgin Voyages.
We also met quite a few people that said, I'm a traditional cruiser. I met one couple that said, they've done like 10 Royal Caribbean cruises, and that they will not be going back to Royal Caribbean. They will only be cruising Virgin from now on. So the question will be if Virgin can build enough of that base to fill their ships week after week. Something that I think we've made kind of a good comparison to is Virgin is kind of like Disney. They are not your traditional, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Celebrity, Princess type of cruises. They're a specialty cruise that is kind of set away and apart from the other cruise lines. They're also set at a little bit of a higher price. Disney, of course, is the Disney experience, right? Like, it's all things Disney. You've got the characters, you got the kids. Virgin is the all adults experience. So if you want an all adults only experience on the high seas, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium for it, but you are going to get that experience on board their ships.
All right, now we got to talk about what almost sent you to the hospital on board. And I will say this is pretty bad.
It was a bad experience. We did have one restaurant. Well, let's say I had one restaurant that I did not like at all. That was Test Kitchen. Test Kitchen is kind of a
which I liked, by the way.
Jared loved it. But it's like a kind of like a gastro pub experience with experimental foods. What I did not appreciate was that there was a set menu of 6 different items. I think 4 of those items I dramatically dislike.
Like, his only 4 items he does not like ever are the ones on this list.
I am not a picky eater, but for example, I do not like blue cheese. There was a blue cheese inspired dish. So they bring out all of these inspired dishes by these items. And again, I didn't like most of them. I have an allergy, though, to raw egg. And egg was one of the items. Now, it's confusing. I can eat cooked egg, but raw egg is a no-no for me. I informed the waiter of this. He said, "Oh, okay, thank you for letting us know. Let me go back and talk to the chef and see what we can do." He comes out and says, the chef actually wants you to still have the dish, and it's safe to eat around the actual raw egg. The raw egg is in the middle of the dish, but he wants you to see the presentation, experience the dish, and, it's going to be fine. Well, that was fine with me, I thought. However, they bring the dish out, and it's egg and peas and caviar, and everything is touching the egg. I mean, talk about like extreme cross-contamination. So I could not eat it. And the fact that I told them I was allergic and they still brought it out and put it in front of me is a big no-no. Now, we did, of course, give this feedback to the staff. I don't think this will be happening again for anyone else. No. Thankfully, I understand what can and cannot go in my body, and that would have sent me to a bad place. Let's just say that. So that was a really bad experience, and I am still confused. I still don't understand why that happened and why the chef kind of pushed back and was like, no, I want him to experience the plate.
He almost experienced a medical emergency.
Yeah.
Overall, will we ever sail Virgin Voyages again?
Yes, of course we will.
Yes, we had a great time, and honestly, we had horrible first impressions, to be honest with you, and they completely switched about the midway point to where we're like, we're definitely coming back. So if you do have, similar to us, negative first impressions, we challenge you. Maybe this means that you need to go on a 3 or 4 night cruise with Scarlet Lady or one of the other ships coming out.
And a 3 or 4 night cruise goes like this. So that's why we say they have those short sailings. It's perfect to check it out and try it out. And we would encourage you to do so.
So thank you so much for watching. First and foremost, let us know your comments below. Whether it's about Virgin Voyages, if you're going to try Scarlet Lady out, whether it's you've had another run-in similar to Jordan and had almost medical emergency because of something you're allergic to and a chef not listening. Also, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on this video. Once again, we're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers by Christmas, and you can help us do that, and it's completely free to you. So thank you in advance.
All right, and until next time,
See ya.